With the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible, we call him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. Hey, this is a place where I usually get to tell my opinion, my life story, things of that nature, or combat vets that come on here get to tell their perspectives, their life stories, their whatever their situation is. Sponsors, supporters, volunteers get to come on here as well. Talk about some things that cross reference with a lot of things that we get to do. And so, hey, I'm honored today to have an actual good friend of mine from way back, from high school, middle school. Uh, Denise Gard. She is an author of books. She's an entertainer. She's got two awesome dogs. She does performances for old folks and does a whole bunch of other things. But she's heavily involved in her life and has some great spirits on this. And I think communication is a big thing. And I think she mentions it in this book. And I think some of these processes. She wrote the book called Ravenwood's Smoke Signals. And Denise, thanks for being on my show. It's good to see you.
It's really great to see you, Aaron. You look very similar to high school.
I think it's because I smiled in high
Okay.
school as well. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, hey, I don't think you changed that much either. You look like the same too. So it's pretty interesting. That's great.
Ah,
Hey, but your father served. He was a Marine
yes.
and served in Vietnam. Went through a lot of processes. So you grew up in that fashion a little bit, but he had already been out by the time. So you
Yeah.
had, yeah.
So
How
my
cool.
father served in Vietnam. He was stationed over in Okinawa. He did see action. He also protected the White House, and because he was a Marine and he went to military training, he was at Camp Lejeune. So,
Yeah, and Camp
um,
Lejeune, we'll talk about that sometime. But I know
yeah,
your father passed away not too long ago,
just
and
last
a
summer.
lot of it's just last summer, and it's related to the water issues that are at Camp Lejeune, which
Yeah,
we can talk about some other time.
my father had cancer for the last 5 years. So he gave it his Marine all, is what he kept saying. He was a fighter till the very end, but it was a terrible and heartbreaking way to watch someone that you care about die. So, but on to more
Exactly.
exciting things. We should talk a little bit about my book.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to say
You know
also,
what?
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, your story, your livelihood, your cool dogs. Yeah, all those good things. We'll get into them.
Um, so I perform with two highly trained Border Collies. We do have a couple of videos on YouTube, but for the most part, we do live shows. We actually have a show this afternoon at the Old Colorado City Library branch. I create a story that the dogs act out, and they do tricks while I'm telling the story. We do programs for both children and senior citizens, and honestly, the seniors are very dear to my heart. And in my novel, Ravenwood's Smoke Signals, I have a lot of senior characters that are based on a lot of my interactions. I mean, these seniors have stories to tell. They're very entertaining. Um, and I kind of treat them all like my grandparents. And I miss my grandparents. So it's a wonderful thing. And then I decided during COVID, the big shutdown, I had all this time because all of my shows got canceled. In fact, for an entire year, I wasn't able to work, which was really a struggle. So every morning I would get up and write. I needed that in my life to keep me going, to keep me motivated. And I wrote a novel. And I think it turned out wonderful. And it's the kind of book that you might shed a few tears over. You definitely will laugh. And hopefully it'll teach you a little bit. It'll help provide you with a new perspective on aging. Because just because you retire doesn't mean that your life ends. There's a whole nother new chapter out there for you. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, and it's about communication as well, right? You
Yeah.
talk I mean, when just reading the back part, it talks about, some of the struggles of coming together and coming back together and, just dealing with those connection issues. But you
Mhm.
also did you actually did the graphics for it. You did
I
the
did.
cover of the book, you drew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also during COVID, I took up watercolors, and our old friend from high school, Jamie Smith, gave me some pointers, and I did some tutorials online, and I picked it up super fast. And then I started branching out and doing my own watercolors, and I love it. I think what's hard right now, I'm so busy with performances that I don't have the same time that I did to write or to do watercolors. So in a little way, I missed the lockdown. It forced me my life to get slower and more focused.
There's a lot to be said about that, right? COVID had a lot of negativity pieces.
Yeah.
Uh, but what it did is it created, I think, a lot of different avenues to learn something new, um,
Hmm.
connect in different ways, focus on different projects, right? And
Yeah.
creating this book.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd still be waiting for another 5, 10 years for this book if it wasn't for
I
COVID.
hope not. Yeah, I'm writing a. It's funny now. It's like the ideas are just pouring out of me. And I have actually. I'm working on the sequel to Raven Woods, and I'm also writing a new book as well. So I have all these creative thoughts and processes in my mind, and I just have to find the time. So.
Yeah, and you share a lot of yourself in this book, right? You share some of the
Well,
obviously the stories that you came across, your
it is.
relationships. I mean,
So yeah, so it is fiction. I am not Audrey. She is a she's a way cool character. But like every writer, there's aspects from people that I meet that are in these characters. And that's what makes them feel real as you read them. So, and I will say this, I've had a lot of really bad dating experiences, usually just one date, thank God. Um, and so that had to be part of the book. I had to work
and
through
you
all of it. It was
and
trauma, so I had to write it down.
and by writing it down, that's a therapeutic effect for you.
It
That's
is.
that's
Yeah.
opening up in a lot of ways, and I think it's super important and amazing that you do that because in everything that I do with our combat vets, sometimes we isolate and just we don't open up enough, and we don't have maybe that outlet that needs to happen. A lot of these guys maybe have some creative sides of themselves, but if you want to just talk about some of the things
Yeah.
that you did to write this book, um, some avenues, some pathways that might have worked, that might work for them some ways, shape or form.
Definitely, because I was thinking about that. Writing has always been for me a very therapeutic avenue, and I think it would be wonderful for vets to do that. Plus, the American Library of Congress does have where they want more stories from actual vets to be uploaded, and then they preserve them for all time. There's definitely not enough men from like my father's generation from Vietnam War who have recorded their stories. So I really think anyone, from Iraq and Afghanistan and World War II, and of course Vietnam and the Korean War, that this would be a great process. One thing that everyone tells me they have trouble with is starting that first sentence. You might have a journal in front of you, Aaron, and you might be like, I just don't know what to put down. When you're writing something, don't worry about the first line. Just start writing. And what we mean by that as writers, you could even do where you're just collecting thoughts, and maybe it's about something that you experienced. So your first thing is you could just write down some of the emotions that you felt. Maybe a vet went through some kind of trauma and he just starts writing down words that sparked those emotions. And then from there, you gradually put them into sentences. And then from there, he could even develop um, a memoir or a fictional book based on his experiences is also a wonderful thing. So, like I said, a lot of people consider that first sentence the hardest. And you could even do something where I give you a sentence and then you have to finish it. So maybe the sentence would be um, the only time I've truly felt afraid in my life, and now you have to finish it. And from there, it might help you create and write down some other things. Or we could go on a positive note. Um, when I do this, happiness and joy flows. And you could start to write about that. So I think writing can be a wonderful way to also remember things, but also to put a new perspective on what you're dealing with.
Nice.
Yeah. When I started writing my novel, I was also reading books like by Stephen King on how to write. I strongly recommend his book. It's a funny read too. He is a great guy. But one thing that he recommended was to write 1,000 words a day, which might seem overwhelming. But let me tell you, there were times when I was like way over 1,000 words, and I'm like, wow, I could just keep going. And then other days where you only have 300 words and you can't, you're struggling and struggling, but eventually you get there. And if you do that method that Stephen King put forth, you could actually have a book written in 3 to 6 months. Ravenwood's Smoke Signals only took me 6 months to write once I really started doing the 1,000 words a day. I mean, I was going like it was really fast process.
That's an incredible thing. You know, I mean, it takes a little bit. I think a lot of guys journal. They don't necessarily know where they're going to go with that journal sometimes, especially now.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the psychologists are helping them out and saying, "Hey, you can journal, you can do all these things." And like you said, these words, just writing them down is super important. Um, when we come back, I got a PSA to go for the VA. The VA always puts a message out on
Oh,
my
great.
show.
Yeah.
And when we get back, I'd love to talk about your dogs and where
Yeah.
they came from and where you obviously have to be a dog trainer. So I want to
Yeah.
hear about that. It's going to be really
Okay.
cool.
That sounds great.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mike Richmond of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with this message for veterans. Did you serve in the military? Veterans deserve world-class health care. You can help by joining the Million Veteran Program. MVP is VA's national voluntary research program to better understand how genes affect health. With over 900,000 veteran participants, MVP is one of the largest research programs in the world, with breakthroughs in PTSD, depression, heart disease, cancer, and more. With your help, the program can make more discoveries in areas that matter most to veterans. Go to mvp.va.gov to sign up, or call 866-441-6075 to schedule an appointment at a participating VA. You don't have to receive your care at VA to join. I'm Mike Richmond.
Hey, we're back with Denise Gard from Ravenwood. She wrote the book called Smoke Signals, and she also does all this cool entertaining with her dogs. We talked a little bit about them, and that's Joey and Kira.
Yes. Yeah.
And which
So
one's Joey and which one's Kira? Because you got a black one and kind of a yellowish goldish
yellow.
one, right?
Yeah. The yellow one is Joey. He's my baby boy. And the black and white one is Kira. and she's my new addition. She is a little spitfire. She's hilarious. I do all the training for my dogs, and I do all of the creative process of creating a story for them to act out as well. And as it was once said, I think by Ronald Reagan, but if you perform with children or animals, you got to expect really they are the stars of the show. And it is true. I mean, I don't think a lot of people even remember that I'm there, but the dogs are the main part of the show. And it's very exciting. They have a wonderful time. They love showcasing their tricks. And I think to me, what sets me apart from other things is that, or from other entertainers, the dogs have to really focus on me. They're not doing like their trick after trick after trick. They have to actually listen to the story. And sometimes, oh, if I screw up and I'm telling the story and I miss a line and Joey misses his trick, he's off to the side doing that trick, even though I forgot it. Like they learn the story maybe better than I do. So it's a very fun. I love what I do. I love writing as well. So
That's awesome. And when you do your shows, how long does a show last? Obviously, these dogs have to know multiple different things that are going
yeah,
on, right?
yeah.
So
So most libraries and most like assisted living or memory care facilities, they want the show to last for at least 45 minutes. That does include time to pet the dogs. They are therapy certified. So, like the seniors, they actually get to pet them twice in the beginning of the show and the end of the show. And these dogs provide so much comfort and joy. Um, I actually think Joey prefers the seniors. He'll just like lean against a senior and they just pet him. And memory care is always interesting though, when you perform there, because I'll have a senior try to like take one of the dogs back to their room. They're like, "This is my dog," and they're taking the dog away, and I'm like, "I'm gonna need that doggy back." So it's a very fun environment. I love, like I said, it's just fun. I hope someday you'll get to see one of my shows, and you can watch it on YouTube. You know what was hard about doing our YouTube videos is that without the live audience and the dogs feed off of the audience, it's a little bit more challenging. I definitely prefer performing live, you know. So that's what I do. And I was going to tell you one more thing, like if any of your vets are interested in writing and stuff, is to not worry about what the first draft looks like. A lot of people who are first time writers get stuck. They're worried about punctuation or how it sounds. And the main thing is just to write. You know, Ravenwood's smoke signals, the beginning of the book. That was not the beginning of the book. I mean, that's like the 10th beginning. So that's something to keep in mind is if you want to journal your thoughts or create a memoir, don't worry, just get it down. From there, you're going to rewrite probably 10 times. You got to enjoy the process. You look a little scared, Aaron. You look a little scared.
hey, that's because for me, I've always I got dyslexia, so I have a hard time reading for one. So I read magazines. I think I've only read like maybe 10 novels my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And that was way past the book report date, because I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna read the part of this book and then the end of the book. And I remember standing up in front of public and being like, hey, I have to give a 5-minute book report. This is going to be crazy. 5 minutes seemed forever. And now I do these podcasts, like 30 minutes goes by like that. But no, it's way cool that you do this, Denise. And I mean, I feel like you would be a great resource to our combat vets. And I feel like,
Mm.
sometimes some of these guys may want to get a hold of you to get that
Definitely.
inspiration, the direction, as well as, some guys in Colorado. And you're in Colorado, and you do these shows with the dogs. They may want to come by and check that out because, for them it's going to be very therapeutic as well. And
It
so,
is. We
so if there's, I know you got a couple of minutes. I want you to tell whatever you want, and then at the end, just if somebody wants to get a hold of you, please tell how they could do that,
okay.
as well as they can always go through me, and I will refer them to you after I speak with you. But yeah, just whatever else you want to talk about, it's awesome. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Well, I just really appreciate you, Aaron. I was going to say your experience with dyslexia could actually really create a really great story to tell and also write and for people to read. And that's what I think everyone needs to remember. We all have stories. And I think sometimes, and I've never been, out in combat, but you probably have to shut down your emotions and close yourself down. And when we write, we open ourselves up. And I would be very interested in hosting or teaching workshops with the VA about writing and memoir writing, but also they can create a character. They could use aspects of what they've been through, but create a separate novel, and it kind of separates it from them, and then it makes it so it's a story, but it also helps them through it. It's very therapeutic, and it's just a matter of unlocking those emotions, I think, is very important to do.
That is
And
very true. We shut those down. We have to do that. Yeah, it's very crazy.
yeah,
And I know you write children's books as well. I totally wanted to focus on that for a second. And if you could
yeah.
just put that out there as well a little bit.
It was based on a story that I wrote for the dogs to act out. I actually had this dream of doing an entire series of those because I have so many stories that I write for them. And it's just a matter of getting them out there. The particular one that is now available, I did self publish, and I'm not very happy with the format. I don't know how many publishers might be interested in, two dogs, but they have adventures, a lot of adventures. Our program today, I get to dress up as a fairy, and the dogs are battling a dragon to save a village because the dragon has lost her egg, and the dogs have to go on a quest. And the title of our show is Dogs on a Quest. But yeah,
That is
it's very therapeutic.
awesome. Yeah, I hope to get out and see one of your shows personally. I've seen it on the when you gave me the link to the YouTube back in the day. But I would love to see one of your shows live. And of course, I love
Yeah.
dogs. I got one myself, Liberty. She's my service dog. She's totally trained.
Yes,
So I understand the training that these dogs require so much. But because they're so used to it, it gets easier as it goes, right?
it does. It does.
At first, it takes a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I use Border Collies. So my dogs are incredibly smart. Border Collies are the smartest breed in the world. And I'm not just saying that because I think so, it's been studied. But they are so smart that I can teach them tricks very, very fast. And they're very sweet. And people just love to pet, and you feel better after petting an animal. There was a study done on seniors, and if they had high blood pressure problems, just petting a dog for even 30 seconds would lower their blood pressure. And that's a wonderful thing. So that's what we do. That's what we try to do. um I forgot what else I was gonna say, sorry.
Hey, it's okay. I would love to get you back on here again sometime. We'll talk some more about a lot of things too. But if someone wants to get a hold of you, feel free to put that out there. and where they can find
Yeah.
you. I put a lot of links to her book on Amazon.
Oh, good.
I put
Good.
some other, yeah, links to your dogs and your link as well if they want to get. But if there's any other information you want to put out there, please do that.
And the book, I actually have a copy. Whoop, there we go. The book is actually available on all different bookstores and websites, plus libraries can order it as well. And you can also contact me at storycreations at yahoo.com. That's my email address. And you can also contact me through my website, which is also storycreations.org. So, and my website will have a lot of our upcoming events, plus links to the book as well, and more information about the dogs and what we do. And I remembered what else I was going to say about our previous conversation. Watercoloring is very therapeutic. So I don't know, Aaron, if you've ever tried it. You don't even have to be good. You can use your finger if you don't want to use a paintbrush. That's what's nice about watercolors. But when I do it, it relaxes me. And that was one of the reasons why I took it up during COVID, because it was such a stressful time. And so I just feel it would be a wonderful thing for your veterans to maybe look into too. And this is another topic we could probably discuss more in depthly at another time.
Awesome. Awesome. My mom's a big painter. She wanted me to paint. It wasn't my thing. It takes a lot of patience. I understand watercolors to acrylics to
Yeah.
oils, all kinds of cool things. But
Yeah, see,
you're so creative, so amazing. It's awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna
I know
say,
I know I'm hurrying for you because I know you got to
I
get to
know,
your show,
I
but
know, yeah.
thank you for
Uh,
fitting in to mine.
um, yeah, so what oils I don't do because of the smell, and they take a lot of time. And acrylics I think are globby. Ugh. But watercolors, you know what's nice about watercolors? If you spill or get some on you, they wash out. Watercolors, I think it can be a very forgiving medium. It can also be kind of challenging, but it works with water. And once you understand that, it's just so much fun. So, but also writing. I just think I'd love to see and hear some of the stories that the veterans have. Definitely.
Well, there's definitely a lot of them. And writing it in memoir, I know some some guys that have written theirs. It doesn't take a lot of writing, but it creates a story, and these things can be cataloged. And Denise will know how to do that. So if you have questions, hit me up. I'll get you in contact, and maybe she can help out some guys that might be wanting to get started, get going on this.
Okay.
Thank you so
Well,
much,
thank you.
Denise.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It was really good to chat with you and see you again.
It's an honor. Thank you. Hey, this is Aaron Siebert. This is Combat Vet Vision. My show is brought to you by SitchRadio.com. I'm heavily involved with combat vet support through Warrior Built PTSD Foundation of America and so many other organizations and categories and directions. I'm very thankful to have the guests that I do, and for you, the combat vet. Stay motivated, do what you need to do, and be good to yourself. Until next time, this is Aaron Siebert signing off. Strength and honor. Out.